Department of Library and Information Science, University of Kolani, Dr. Ashish Biswas, Deputy Librarian at Delhi University Library System, University of Delhi, and Dr. Ujjoyini Ray, Research Assistant, IPR Cell, University of Calcutta. And thank you so much for taking the time from your busy schedule to share your valuable expertise and insights with all our participants. I would like to thank Dr. Somrita Ganguly, convener of our seminar subcommittee, for her continuous support and guidance. And I would like to congratulate and thank the organizing committee members, support staffs for putting together this wonderful session. A special thanks to Sri Shambho Datto, who is in charge of Central Library and organizing secretary, and Dr. Shoumen Koyal, librarian and joint secretary of this webinar, and Srimati Lahori Mukhopadhyay, faculty member from the Department of Journalism and Mass Communications of our college. And the topic for today's webinar is academic integrity in the digital environment and intellectual property rights. Now, as we navigate the rapidly evolving digital landscape in higher education, the role of the IQAC has become increasingly crucial, and our goal is to transform our institution into a hub of innovation. But such excellence can only be achieved, and it can only be achieved, or it can only flourish on a foundation of uncompromised academic integrity and respect for intellectual property rights, that is IPR. We know that digital tools have revolutionized learning, but they have also brought easy access to plagiarism and contract cheating. And academic integrity is not just about avoiding punishment, but it is a core value of honesty, trust, fairness, and responsibility in all our academic and research activities. And while we encourage the use of artificial intelligence as a tool for research, but AI generated content cannot replace our genuine intellectual effort. And as academicians and students, we must understand the ethical and legal implications of using copyrighted materials, datasets, and artistic works found online. And proper citation is not only a formality, but it is an acknowledgement of the creator's effort. And IQAC, as the coordinator of IQAC, we urge all the faculty members, researchers to not only produce quality research but to patent, copyright, and protect their innovations through proper mechanisms. And today, let us work together to uphold the highest ethical standards, and let us embark on today's journey towards excellence in academic ethics with our respected speakers. Thank you once again for joining us. Over to Lahori.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such delightful insights. So now we welcome our esteemed speakers and resource persons who will share their valuable insights and expertise regarding today's webinar. So our very first dignitary and very first esteemed speaker, Dr. Ujjoyini Rai. So let me give a brief introduction about her expertise and herself. Dr. Ujjoyini Rai is currently working as the research assistant in IPR Cell, University of Calcutta. She has completed her PhD and postdoctoral research from IISc Bangalore. Her research area is primarily genomic instability, DNA repair, and cancer therapeutics. Today, she will enlighten us with her valuable insights on our webinar topic. So over to you, ma'am, and we are eagerly waiting for your valuable insights on this seminar, or webinar, sorry.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, we are audible.
Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me. Um, so for today's webinar, I'll be starting off with fundamentals of IPR, and then I'll go on to showing you some of the key aspects in the filing processes. And then finally, I'll take you through how IPR cell has developed and how we can help you in that through from University of Calcutta in filing your IP assets. So I'll just share my screen. Yeah, is it visible to everyone?
Yes,
I've put it in presentation mode. Is it visible?
Yes, madam, it is visible.
All right, all right. Thank you. Okay. So starting off, IPR is IP. Particularly, it's a property created by human mind using a person that creates IP from his intellectual capabilities, the rights, the legal rights that are associated with it. So, if a person creates anything from their intellectual capability, from their mind, there are legal rights which can safeguard the creators, the inventors, inventions, innovations for a set period of time. So, that is intellectual property rights. It is like an umbrella which protects the young saplings from torrential rain. Um, it so the institution that helps us in achieving these legal rights, it's primarily the CGPDTM, Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks, which comes under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So they are entrusted with the abilities of administering the laws related to all the IP assets from India. Apart from that, we also have WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, with headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, who are involved in helping all the people around the world, at a global stage, to protect the intellectual property ecosystem. Um, so these two organizations are the ones which help us in all these aspects in protecting our innovations, safeguarding it. In India, we have all the offices in different core cities. So as you can see here, the patent office, it's located in Kolkata, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai. The trademarks registry again in Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, Chennai, and also in Ahmedabad. We have the geographical indications registry in Chennai, the copyright office in Delhi, and so these offices are the places where we have to file our applications for IP protection. Other than that, what I want to express here is the World IP Day is on April 26th, and every year the World Intellectual Property Organization, they take a key initiative in spreading the awareness of IP throughout the world. And from our University of Calcutta, also every year we celebrate this World Intellectual Property Day on April 26th. This year also we'll be doing the same, and so this is part of the awareness program throughout the world, so that people are aware of IPs. All right. So what might happen if we decide not to protect our invention? So what it will be is we'll be losing out on several aspects. Somebody might steal our IP, not only patent, it can be anything else as well, copyright, designs. Uh, Our competitors might take advantage of it. Will be losing out on the revenue generation process, the licensing, the selling, the transferring of the technology. Because once, what we have to understand is, once this IPR rights are granted to us, we have the absolute ability to, this, that is our own asset. We can license them, we can sell them, we can commercialize them. So that generates a lot of revenue for the inventors, for the organizations in which they are working. So that is it's a very important asset, I would say, for all the individuals who are working with technologies or who are working with creativity. Now, in India, if we see the Global Innovation Index, every year this Global Innovation Index, that ranking comes, and all the different states of the world, they get a ranking. So India was holding 40th position till 2023. Till 25, it has reduced to 38th position. It is all based on the how the economics grow, what kind of research goes on in particular country or state, what how much infrastructural development takes place, how much revenue flows, so everything. So all these taken into account, this global index shows us where India stands in terms of innovation capabilities, in terms of its economies. Okay, so right now we are at 38th position. Hopefully we'll be able to increase our ranking. um, so coming back to the intellectual property aspects, the property, as we see, there are both kinds of properties are there, tangible properties as well as intangible properties. Now, tangible property means they have a physical existence. As you can see here, they can have physical existence, they can be duplicated, they can be liquidated, they can be, their cost can be determined. So the main examples are the vehicles, our apartments, or gold that we have, the physical entity of which is there. Intangible property is something that is very important to us for our survival in the society, but these we are not able to touch. They don't have as such a physical existence. We are not able to easily liquidate them or sell them in the market. So the important, but they are, so they are somewhere, the below the iceberg, but they are still there, plays a very important role in the society. So intellectual property is one of those intangible values which is there. Apart from that, we also have, reputation in the society. We have community support, we have customer loyalty, labor, goodwill. So all these, although we are not able to physically assess their existence, but they are there and play a very important role in our lives. Now, the thin margin between creativity and innovation is what takes us through IPR. Creativity is something which is, comes from our imagination, the tendency to generate or recognize ideas. There is the possibilities that they may be useful in solving problems. So they are there in our imagination. Now, the key aspect is to translate them into innovation, to implement them in some kind of a product, improved new product which is better than the already existing products or services. It can be processes also which are new and improved. So essentially they highlight the importance of practical implementation and value creation. So this margin between creativity and innovation is where it takes us into IPR, because we'll be the protection that we seek is for the implementation of our creativity. So broadly, if we classify intellectual property, there are two kinds. One is industrial property, another is copyright. So industrial property comes, so it has the branches are the patent, trademark, designs, trade secrets, geographical indications. So all these fall under industrial properties because they have industrial significance. They can be commercialized. And copyright is something which comes from the literary and artistic categories. So that's a different class on its own. Other than that, there is another system which is called, which is not here written, but it is called sui generis system, which means one of its kind. Under that comes the plant breeders' rights, the databases, the integrated circuits. So these are the a different kind of IP. So broadly, IP is classified in these ways. What I'll do is I'll one by one take you through the basics of these individual IPs, and then I'll move on to how to file and. So firstly, let's talk about patent. It is territorial right. Territorial right means if a patent is granted in India, you have to disclose your invention. If it's granted in India, it will be valid only in India. So it's territorially marked. Now, if we want to file patents in other countries, there are procedures for that. So it will be valid only in those countries and not in India. So the rights essentially associated with patent are territorial. What kind of rights do we get? We can make the product or process, we can use them, we can sell them, we can import them, we can commercialize them. So it's essentially our own if we are getting the right, but it will be territorially marked. The term of protection is 20 years, and all these are governed by the Patents Act 1970 and its amendments. The processes that are involved in this patent filing is, first, we have to have an innovation. So that needs to be drafted in a certain format, and that has to be applied through the Indian Patent Office if we are filing for Indian patents. For international patents also, there are other rules and regulations associated, but the initial process is the same, that it needs to be drafted out. It needs to be, there are a lot of forms and fees associated with it. It needs to be applied. So that is your filing your application. Then the prosecution for any, because just like any other court case, this is a prosecution takes place. So the form that you have submitted, your application will go through a lot of processes, the scrutiny and examination, there will be hearing. So all these processes goes on until there will be publication of the patent. There will also be a chance for redressal. If there are any issues, they will be contacting you. So essentially, once you receive your patent, you get the legal protection of it. Okay. Now, the main criteria for patentability that we see from being from IPR cell, also when we get a lot of innovations from our inventors, the first thing that we see is whether that particular innovation is patentable or not. Meaning whether it has all those qualities to receive a patent or not. Because all the patents that have been applied, not necessarily that they will be granted. So these patents are screened based on these three categories, primarily the novelty aspect, the inventive step or non-obviousness, and the industrial application. Novelty aspect means whether the invention is, again, if there is any previous patent or non-patent literature, if it's already pre-existing, then the current invention has no novelty. It's not something new. So there it becomes difficult to patent the invention. So that is something that needs to be checked, whether the invention is novel or not. It is checked through prior art. I'll come to it in a bit. Then we have the inventive step or the non-obviousness, which means the technical advancement over existing knowledge, the economic significance, and it being not obvious to the person skilled in the art. So that is the inventive step of the invention. Lastly, the industrial application, whether it can be industrially applied and it can be taken up by companies and commercialized or not. So these are the three criteria based on which any particular application is screened for their patentability. Now, as an example, I would like to say that here you can see a cap. This is a miner's hat, and attached to it you have a torch. Now, this particular invention is not suitable to be patented. Why? Because it's not novel. It's very something which are like two different things. They are just added together. We know what the torch what utility a torch has. It gives light. What utility a miner's hat has. we know it protects the head. So when you fuse these two things, the inventive step of it, the novelty of it is lost. So there is where although it's a new creation, it will not receive a patent application. Similarly, you see here the this kind of an apparatus where the spoon, the fork is, sorry, the chopstick is there, and a fan is attached to it. Now, when we have a noodle bowl, we blow into the noodle to cool it down. Now, everybody knows that if we attach a fan to it, it will eventually cool down the noodles. So it's not something new. It's not something which is not obvious to people. So these kind of inventions, they don't usually get patented. One classic example is here. So it was a 1956 case between Fomento and Mentmore, where they made a particular nib for ballpoint pen. All right, so it which will allow continuous and uniform flow of ink. But what happened was, before filing the patent, they made this invention available to the general public. So obviously, if it's available to general public and it's there in the public domain, anybody will be able to use it. So the novelty aspect of the particular invention is lost there itself. So if the novelty is lost, then in no way the patent will be granted to these kind of inventions. So naturally, Fomento, they lost the case, and the pen, I mean the ballpoint pen nibs, they can be openly used by many different companies like Fenmore and so on. So the key, that's why these three important aspects for patentability need to be checked before filing for patent or while filing for patent. Even the IPO officers, they also, while doing the examination, they check for these criteria. Coming to priority date, it's again an important aspect. This is the earliest filing date. So when we file a patent, the date of application is the one which will tell us that, okay, based on our invention and based on whatever previous literature is available, this is a new invention which is marked for on this date. So anything after this will not receive the patent. This is the first one, the earliest filing date of an application. And then there a particular 12-month period will be given to completely file the patent. So what happens is, even if we don't file the complete specification, the complete layout of the patent, we can file initially we can give a specification, and then later on within 12 months we can file the complete specification. So this is the window of grace window that we get, but the date stays the same. Date for the first application stays. So the priority date is the one where you are getting the earliest filing date, which is very important because this tells us on which date the particular patent was done, and anything after it will not receive the same status. Now, prior art, as I was telling, we for filing patents, again, we need to understand what are the inventions or what are the technical aspects which are already available. The public, functional, technical details, the specific details which are already available against a particular invention. So if it's available, how my particular invention is solving a particular problem of the society, or how it has built over the problems of the previous invention, that need to be checked. So for prior art, what do we do is we check both patent literatures as well as non-patent literatures like publications, newsletters, journal proceedings, anything that is there open in the public domain. That needs to be checked to find out whether any similar kind of invention is already existing in the market or has already been filed by somebody else. So that essentially forms the prior art. Now this you see Ravana's Pushpak Viman and the Wright brothers flying machine. What do we consider as prior art? This Pushpak Viman is not a prior art, particularly because this is not a functional technical detail. It's just a folklore, it's a mythological event. So that is not considered as prior art. However, the Wright brothers, this indigenous structures of flying machine is a prior art for any kind of flying machine designs or flying machine patents that people might apply for, because all the technical details of it has been included, the diagrams, the measurements, the how it works, everything. The specific details have been given. So essentially, these kind of documents serve as prior art for searching for patentability. So for filing, for when we receive any kind of inventions, the first thing that we do is a prior art search, meaning to find out if there is any evidence of invention, whether it's already known. If it's already known, available in the public domain, the novelty is lost. So those kind of patents, I mean, those kind of inventions will not receive any patent. So that's why it's an important step to do a prior art search. So we use certain keywords. We try to understand the invention. Now, this understanding a particular innovation is very important, because unless and until we understand how the innovation goes, what are the the inventive step, the non-obvious things, the novelty of the invention, we cannot do these kind of searches. So we find out the keywords from a particular invention, we find out the crux of the invention, and then there are a lot of databases. Some are publicly available database, some are paid databases. Like, so publicly available free databases are Patent Scope, Google Patents. So we do patent searching here, to find out if there are any invention which is similar in line, or exactly similar to the already applied application, or the application for the patent. And then we so these kind of, so other than that, we also do non-patent literature searches from across the web, NCBI databases, journals, newsletters. It can be anything other than patent documents. So this step tells us the novelty and the inventiveness of the current invention, which is being searched for any previously known art. As I was telling, so a patent is a territorial right. So anybody trying to file a patent in India will be receiving patent protection only in India. Having said that, there are people who do want to file patents in different countries. They want to file patents, international level patents. So there is a system called PCT, Patent Cooperation Treaty, which brings more than, so this number has increased now. It is now 158. So the number keeps on increasing. Out of 195 states in the world, states meaning countries in the world, right now we have 158 countries who are party to this particular treaty. This was administered by World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO. So this brings all the 158 countries together. So it's a single application. It's a single application window through which a single patent application can be filed, and if granted, that particular patent can be filed nationally in different countries using a single particular application. So here you see, so initially when we file the international patent, that's day 0. Within 18 months we receive the examination report, and after that we have a period of 30 months to file in up to 153 states. So a single patent application can be used to file nationally in different countries, 153 countries, we can do it altogether. So that is the PCT. Having said that, there are certain non-patentable inventions as well, which is marked under Section 3 and 4 of the Indian Patents Act. These are, any inventions that are detrimental to the society, any agricultural methods, any plants, animals, or therapeutic treatments, any already known natural laws, they are not patentable as such. Now, coming to the fees part, so when you visit this particular site, IP India government site, you'll be able to find out the fees and the forms that we need to fill and pay for patent filing. So for any small organization, the initial filing fees are 1,600 rupees. For bigger organization, corporate bodies, it's 8,000 rupees, and it increases like if you have more than 10 claims or so. So the fees also increase like that. Other than that, there are examination fees, there are renewal fees. So every from third year onwards, the patent needs to be renewed up to 20 years, and the fees can increase slowly from 1,600 to 2,400 to up to 8,000. It can. Coming to copyright, this is the work of authorship. So these are all the different categories of copyright. You can see here the list: literary works, musical works, dramatic works, choreographic pantomimes, pictorial, graphic, sculptural works, motion pictures, sound recordings, architectural works, all these come under copyright. It comes under the Copyright Act 1957. It gives us reproduction, distribution, rental, and lending rights. Okay, and the term of protection is not 20 years like patent, but it's 60 years after the death of the author. So lifetime of the author plus 60 years. In case of copyright, there are two things which are extremely important. The idea expression dichotomy is something. So meaning if you have an idea, just by having the idea in your mind does not entitle you to protection, copyright protection. But when you put it down in some kind of a format, say if you draw it out or you write it out in any expression medium, then you can get the copyright protection. So that is the expression, not the idea is not protected, but rather the expression of the idea that is protected. Secondly, there are also two questions: the independent creation, whether the particular creation is independently created, and whether it has modest amount of creativity. In case of patent, novelty was important, but in case of copyright, novelty is absolutely not required. Although it can be important in certain cases, but these two, independent creation and creativity, modest amount of creativity, are the factors which govern the copyright protection. So this was a classic case of authorship. So if it's any copyright, if copyright protection is given, if it's human made, if it's animal made, or artificial intelligence made, right now we don't have any law which protects those kind of creations. So this was the Naruto case where David Slater was a photographer. He when he visited Thailand, this particular monkey named Naruto, he took the video camera from him and clicked a picture. This was the picture. Now, there were a lot of cases which stated that the monkey should receive the copyright or David Slater should receive the copyright. But eventually it was finally decided that no, since it's not human made, it's an ape made, so it does not really contribute to copyright protection. So it was so that's how the authorship in case of copyright protection is decided. Same is the case for generative AI. AI does not receive copyright protection because it's not human made. Okay. There are other kinds of protection like trademarks, which any kind of symbols which tells us about the particular product, the goodwill of it, the purchasing ability, whether you want to purchase Pepsi or we want to purchase Coca-Cola. So these are the brand symbols which are the trademarks which tell us distinctly between two different brands. Okay, and the term protection is for 10 years. Industrial designs is the virtual design of object. Okay, the design of a stapler, the two-dimensional, the features also, such as the lines, the patterns, the colors. So that receives a protection for 10 years plus 5 years. Geographical indication is something which is true to a particular geographic region. It should have characteristics or qualities which is unique to a particular region. For example, Bengal's Rasgulla or Mysore silk, which is indigenously produced in those areas. They have those qualities and they have a lot of market potential. So right now in India, we have a lot of geographical indications which have been received, and their market potential is also pretty high. That receives a protection of 10 years. Similarly, semiconductor integrated circuits. This comes under our sui generis system. And here the transistors, the circuitry elements, they receive the protection for a period of 10 years. Trade secret is something which is secret to a particular business. If once it is out, it is out, which means this is not really fixed. The protection is for the particular thing to be a secret. For example, the formula that Coca-Cola uses is a secret and it's not out in the public, it's not disclosed anywhere. So that's why until and unless, as long as it's a secret, the competitive edge still remains, and that is a different kind of protection again. It's not really fixed. Plant breeders and farmers' right. It's something which protects the plant varieties, the different types of trees, new crops, variants. which has market potential, import and export abilities are there. So that is granted for a period of 20 to 25 years. Traditional knowledge is something that is already passed down for generations. For example, the effects of curcumin or ginger, which we know from our previous generations, from folklore, from our rituals. So that needs to be protected. Again, that comes under traditional knowledge, and there is a database for it, for protecting our individual or indigenous things and communities. Okay, so that's the fundamentals of IP. Coming to IPR cell, so we at University of Calcutta, we were formally established in March 2024, 22nd March 2024. Our primary mission is IP awareness, as you can see here, conducting seminars, workshops, training programs on intellectual property. We also have a capacity building for IP strategy, meaning we have the IP management. Our team works on IP management, on protection and commercialization. So this is open for our faculty members, our students, researchers, if they have any particular IP. So we can help protect them, commercialize them, manage essentially all the IPs. We also facilitate advanced research in IPR. For example, we have a policy making framework. We also research on IP laws, IP innovations, policies. We undertake academic programs. We are currently working on a lot of modules for including IPs in all the academic modules in PhD programs. We are currently working on it. We are also supporting our inventors from grassroots levels, right from their innovation stage to their protection and commercialization later on. So this comes under university policy development. We have developed IPR policy for the university, where we can streamline the technology transfer and commercialization aspect, the revenue transfer, the NDAs, all those we govern. And then again, the same thing, the technology transfer comes under it. So this is our mission at University of Calcutta. So universities, how they can exploit the IPs, initially they have a research and development wing, or they are developing the research in their laboratories. And then from there, the invention disclosure. For patents, invention disclosure is very important. Once it is disclosed, it needs to be evaluated, it needs to be filed for IP protection. And then once it is granted, it can be exploited for many things. It can be exploited for license agreement with companies, with other third-party organizations. It can be sold as an assignment. It can be used as an incubation for, so from their spin out means a different kind of company can come out of it. So we can utilize our IP assets, our innovations, we can protect them, and then we can, use them for licensing, for selling, for making incubation centers. That's what our plan is, and we are approaching in that direction. So this is the IP policy that we have framed. All the members of the university community, the students, the research scholars, faculty members, other stakeholders of the university staff, so they all come under the university policy, IP policy. And this was made keeping in mind the existing IP laws of India. And it's already available on our website. Do check it out. One particular aspect I want to highlight here about the policy is, which is also true for any organization, is the work for hire provision. So it's basically, if we are employed by university or we are part of an institution, organization, any staff member or student, so whatever work they are doing, that comes under the scope of employment, right? So if so there has to be specific written agreement on who will get the IP, who will be the applicant for the IP. Since it's a work for hire, the applicant will automatically be the university, because the work has been done using substantial use of university resources. In those cases, those kind of works come under this work for hire provision under Section 17 of the Indian Copyrights Act. And in that case, the university becomes the applicant, and the people who are working behind it are the inventors of it. So the protection that we seek is for the university, and the revenue that will be generated will be shared between the inventors and the the university. So that's essentially, since it's made as a part of the employment of the staff or the student, it comes under this work for hire provision. So this is our website. So we are under centers. If you go to Calcutta University main website, under centers, the IPR cell is there, and then when you click it, you come to this particular site, and here we have kept few tabs for the understanding of IPs. There are two important downloads. One is the invention disclosure form, and another is the IP policy that we have framed. Now, the IP policy is for the university stakeholders, but it also can be applied to affiliated colleges. The invention disclosure form that we have made is, again, right now we are working with all our inventors. So what they do is they download this PDF and they fill it out and they send us an email on this. The same in case of colleges, it's as colleges as affiliated to the university, it can be facilitated through consultancy. Right now we are working with our own inventors from the university, but it can be also extended to the colleges affiliated to the university. For filling out the invention disclosure form, this is particularly for patent application. We require a disclosure of the patent, otherwise the patent application, otherwise we will not be able to file it. So initial step will be to fill out the form and then submit it. So we do a particular patentability search. We have our own databases where we do the prior art search to find out the novelty inventive step of the invention, and we provide you the the report for it to modify your IDF, which is very important because accordingly the claims of your invention, of your patents will be framed, and then we contact you to our empaneled attorneys from the university. And in our IP policy, what we have done is a part of the filing fees will be borne by the university, and the other part will be borne by the inventors who are working on it. So if you go through our policy, you will find the percentages associated with this. And then so this is the invention disclosure form. What we require is the key details, who are the inventors, their details we require, the crux of the invention, the what is the utility, what kind of problem does it solves over previously known literature, what are the inventive step, what does the inventor think as the novelty or the inventive step. Of course we'll be assessing the same, but also we require the inventors to state out the inventiveness or the novelty of their problem, because they are the ones who will be knowing their research in depth. So that's the form, and again this form is available from in our website, you can check out. We also require the market potential, if the invention has any market potential, immediate or future, that will be of help to us. Whether it has been disclosed, again as I already said, if the particular invention has already been disclosed in the public domain, the chances of it being patented reduces. Sometimes it may not receive patent grant, the patent may not be granted at all. So that needs to be disclosed here, so that accordingly the claims can be framed. And that's it. So I thank you all for your patience, and I can take up any question that you might have.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So hopefully we were benefited through her kind words and her insights into this topic.
Madam, I have
We
a question,
welcome.
please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I'm Chandra from Rammohun College. I teach geography.
Right.
Thank you, madam, for your interesting presentation. Since I'm a geographer interested in human geographical aspects, traditional knowledge is an area which attracts me a lot. So you have explained that there are ways to protect traditional knowledge. like the knowledge that we have gathered from our, our grandmothers or from our family, or regarding all the organic products, or maybe some vegetable products or something. So how are these, the how is this knowledge, traditional knowledge? I'm not talking about only indigenous knowledge, which is more confined to the tribal community, or the the or the other sorts of knowledges, but the knowledge that appears very common to us, that traditional knowledge, how is it protected by the intellectual property rights? Thank you, madam.
Right. Thank you so much for the question. So IPO and ICMR, they have been working on protecting the traditional knowledge. There is a database called Traditional Knowledge Database Library, where all the indigenous knowledges have been deposited, and we can check out. So how it is protected is, particularly for biopiracy, any other country will not be able to utilize our indigenous knowledge and claim it as their own. What happened was, previously there were a lot of herbs. So the case was with Kerala. There were a lot of herbs and which were traditionally used in Kerala, and then there was a company who wanted to. They made certain formulations from using curcumin and other herbs as well. So they wanted to market it in India. So if it's part of our indigenous knowledge, then any other company, say a US company or China company, they will not be able to market that particular knowledge as their own in our country. So that is how it is protected. And also biopiracy, our own indigenous herbs, our own bioresources, which are traditionally known, they are also protected. Any other countries will not be able to claim it as their own, and we can use it as our own, and any patents on it will not be granted.
Madam, just one tagging question. Like we have some embroidery traditions and some craft traditions as well. Do they come under the traditional knowledge, and are they protected? Thank you.
um, crafts and handworks, that comes under, also comes under geographical protection, the geographical indication. So if it's indigenous to a particular area, and it has been going on for several generations in a particular area, which gives uniqueness to the product or the process, it can be protected under geographical indications. And any person working in those areas, so the revenue that they will be generating, it so that will not be exploited by other companies or any other people. So it will go back to the people who are originally working on the product. For example, the crafts on the terracotta crafts, or any other crafts that's there in Bengal or any other area, Mysore silk. So the indigenous knowledge associated with it, or the craftsmanship, particularly the uniqueness of the product, that stays. And when we try to sell it, so the craftsmen will be getting their fair share, and not any other company who will be stealing our knowledge and craftsmanship and selling it as their own. So the revenue comes back.
Thank you, madam.
Sulakras?
Okay, am I audible?
Yes.
I just want to add a few things in between that uh, we are actually having a live streaming over the YouTube, and many people are watching it out there, also parallel to the original session going on over here. And also, due to time crunch, we can't take many questions. We can only have 2 to 3 questions. Already we have an interactive session with Dr. Ujjoini, but from the that side, that is from the YouTube, those who are watching in the YouTube, there are some questions coming. I just want to mention 1 or 2 questions. One, Dr. Mitali Dasgupta has requested uh, one question there. She has asked, what is the current status of IPR at WTO? I mean, maybe the World Trade Organization. Uh, Dr. Roy, Ujjwini Roy. I think you have noted the question. She has asked, what is the current status of IPR at WTO?
All right. So the World Trade Organization and the WIPO, which comes under it, current status, as in they are the international organization to facilitate the intellectual property protection globally. So that's a global institute. They carry out. So if from IPO, if you have a patent application internationally from our particular country, that has to be contacted through WTO, the WIPO, and then that will be published. And so they essentially maintain a treaty among all the contracting states. So they essentially take over. I mean, they govern all the aspects of IPR globally. Any aspect of IP. It can be copyright, it can be the patents at the international level.
So, okay, I think there will be no other questions from any side. If any, then you may ask, or I think it's time to switch over to our next speaker if you don't really have any question to ask her. Okay, Lohri.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, madam, for your valuable insights. Now it's time for welcoming our second delegate and our second resource person who will also share valuable insights and expertise on today's webinar. Our second speaker and our esteemed dignitary is Dr. Ashish Biswas, who has served and is serving esteemed institutions as a librarian and an academic counselor. Presently, he is the deputy librarian at the University of Delhi. He has a PhD, an MPhil, NLIS accredited to his name. Today, his speech and insights will also help us to get a clear picture on the academic integrity and in the digital environment and intellectual property rights. Over to you, sir.
I think Dr. Bishash is over here. I know he has
Namaskar.
joined.
Good afternoon
Okay,
to all of you.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir, you are audible.
So first of all, thanks to the organizer from Manindara Chandra College for giving me this opportunity to share some of my viewpoints related to academic integrity. So not wasting time, let me start. So as the first speaker, Dr. Ujjwini has very excellently, covered all the aspects related to IPR. So I will not go for that at all. Better let me focus on the academic integrity. Basically, in this age of digital environment, that's why I have framed this title of this presentation as academic integrity in the age of algorithms. Trust, truth, and ethics in digital scholarship. Because as a working library professional in a system like a University of Delhi, I am practically noticing that along with that printed resources, how much the e-resources that we procure every year, that uses statistics is much more high than the printed resources. There are so many aspects are there. One thing is that it has that remote access logging facility, so user can have that accessibility in their own time, own space. So that's why the e-resources is much more getting used on the basis of our available accessibility of our e-resources. So that's why the term, as I have coined here, that is the digital scholarship. So it's easier, okay, fine, that e-resources, we are getting ample sources of e-resources, but at the same time, basically in case of academic aspects, or more specifically to say the research-oriented aspects, whenever we are using all those e-resources, the present generation, that can be said the Gen G, the tenacity is that somehow it can be materialized, or the ultimate product we can earn so in the easiest way. So we are very much prone to find out those avenues that which will provide us the easy availability to produce our research results. Some of the factors are there. I will show you most of the things. You are well aware about all these things, but still some of the pros and cons, let me allow to share with you related to this topic. So the first two questions I am presenting before you, that if AI can write your paper, who owns the knowledge? You or the AI? The second question is that, is plagiarism still plagiarism when AI generates original text? Suppose the AI has totally generated an innovative text, new insight it has provided. Still, you can say that AI has not copied from any sources. Let me conclude that AI has generated totally an innovative, insightful context or the result. So even at the time, can we say that it is still a plagiarized content? So with these two questions, let me proceed. A formal definition that academic, what is academic or research integrity? Means conducting academic works, research adhering to the ethical principles. That is very much important. Everything is there, but there are some ethical principles are there. Because of time's constraint, I will not go into details about the ethical principles and professional standards essential for the responsible practice of academic works, research, which allows others to have trust and confidence. This is the another highlighted point. Along with the ethical principles, whether we are following or not following, if we follow that, my research work or my scholarly work will have the advantage to gain trust and confidence in the methods used and the findings that result from this. So this is ultimate important thing to properly enrich our scholarly domain, avoiding the duplications, avoiding the just falsification and fabrication, the new insight. Whenever I will add that new insight in the presently available knowledge domain, then only our knowledge domain will be enriched. And then only I will get that trust and confidence in my research work. So academic or research integrity, basically to say trust in methods, whatever the methodology I am following and whatever the ultimate results I am achieving. So this is the ultimate thing, the crux thing, better to say, of the academic integrity. So in red line, I have mentioned digital environment is challenging that trust at scale. Yes, digital innovations are providing lot of avenues for so many works, not only in academic or scholarly work, so many works. It is helping us to get that ease, to get that comfort, to speed, even accuracy to some extent. But these things, in the aspect of academic integrity, it is posing a challenge. So digital environment is challenging that trust. The trust I just mentioned, that if it is innovative, if it is insightful, then only I will get the trust and confidence. But at the same time, because of the tenacity of providing everything in the easiest way, digital environment is posing challenges to that trust and confidence. How and why and what can be done? Let me proceed with those concepts. So previously, whenever we are talking or we talked about the academic integrity, basically we dealt with the three aspects, that is the plagiarism, falsification and fabrication. Because it's a simple concept. I know that you people all are aware about that. What is the basic aspect of the plagiarism? That whenever we are copying someone else's ideas or content or thought, and we are not accrediting to that. Even it is not that I have copied everything from someone else's work and I have accredited that I have taken the element from someone else's work. Not like that. Some portions, some ideas, it can be taken. And the falsifications. Another very dangerous aspect, that there is no such data. I have falsely created and presented in such a wonderful way that it creates that impression that it is authentic. It is very insightful. But ultimately, I have not done any survey work. I have not done any field work. I have not done any kind of literature review, something like that. And fabrication is almost related to falsification. Fabricated is most dangerous. Most of the cases, statistical data, numerical data, that is the quantitative data, I have presented in such a way that it seems again that is very much authentic. But no such numerical data not existing in a real sense. So these are the three aspects previously we have dealt. But now in the digital environment, these aspects are also added with those previous three aspects. The new addition is that algorithm manipulation, AI assisted writing without disclosure, data fabrication using synthetic datasets, citation gaming, and metric manipulations. So what are those actually? Before going to details about all those things, I'm drawing your attention to these infographics, that ethical behavior plus digital responsibility. I know these are the challenges. This can be done this way, and if we can avoid this, it can be materialized in a properly. But before that, we have to have a sense of ethical principles about all those things. Before that, I have already mentioned that I'm not going into details about the ethical principles. It is very easily available over the internet, or I know that you people are already aware about all these things. So my ethical behavior is very much important, because temptation is very much there in this digital environment. Our life is also very much busy. Everywhere there is a lack of patience, lack of time. The society is also very much distracted in different sections, different aspects. So whenever we are getting everything easily through the digital environment, so this ethical better to say, the following the ethical principles sometimes may be hampered intentionally, or better to say unintentionally. So you have to build a strong point of view that these are the ethical principles. I have to bounded by these ethical principles whenever I am doing some kind of academic work or some kind of research work, or better to say the scholarly work. So these things are important, that along with the digital responsibility, that which thing has to be done in which way, you have to have a very clear idea about the ethical principles. So along with these two combination, the ethical behavior and digital responsibility alone can guide us in a proper way. So let me draw your attention to the new additions with the academic integrity along with these three concepts, that is plagiarism, falsification, fabrication. The new additions are algorithmic manipulation and its role in digital integrity. Algorithm manipulation is nothing but exploiting or gaming the digital system in such a way that it provides not real, fake, or fabricated information in such a way that it seems fully authentic. So this is the catch line of the algorithmic manipulation. From the infographics, you can see that what happening in case of algorithmic manipulation from the left side, that is data collections and profiling. What is happening? Massive data is collected to build detailed profiles of individuals. Sometimes, whenever as authorship, we are attaching my profile in the different social media or as an author profiles, I'm amalgamating so many things just to create a halo effect that these are the author's profile. But ultimately, there are so many things which has been included in such a way, ultimately there is nothing like that. You can see that dangerous point of view. Then the algorithmic targeting. What is that? Algorithmic algorithmics predicts behavior and target constant to maximize encouragement or specific outcomes. Sometimes very skillfully, we are targeting a group of people to draw their full attention and writing on that particular topic, amalgamating different fake data, and I am presenting in a such a way, targeting such a group to draw their attention. So in this way, algorithmic targeting, creating a hype. The third thing is that content amplification. What is that? The sensational, polarizing, or misleading content is prioritized to keep people engaged. Then the cognitive influence, then the behavioral outcomes, then the opacity and lack of accountability. Why it is? Because complex algorithms operate in the dark without little transparency or oversight. Ultimately, there is no transparency. Everything is presented in a very packaged format to draw the attention of the people, and always we always subconsciously we have the tenacity to have kind of a package thing. We are not bothered about what will happen after opening that package. But as the package is very glossy, catchy, so information is also, or the academic works is also presented in the catchy packaged format to draw the attention. So these are the aspects of the algorithmic manipulation. And because of that algorithmic manipulation, what kind of problem we are facing in the digital integrity? That is the misinformation and disinformation, polarization and division, because I have already mentioned the second aspect, that targeting a specific group of people to create their whole attention for this particular content. Then the demographic manipulation, loss of trust. This is important because at the very beginning I mentioned about the academic integrity, that trust and confidence in my own research work is very much important. That's why I have to follow the ethical principles. So ultimately, what is happening in algorithmic manipulation? That is the loss of trust. Then the privacy violations, harm to individuals and society, obviously, because the scholarly work or the research work ultimately is not for my degree or my own benefit. The overall benefit for the societal development. But the fake information, nothing is there. It is not only creating a hole in the or chunk in the knowledge domain system. It is also harming the development of the society, because the society's development is very much information of the innovativeness, and that is the ultimate motto of a research work. That is totally getting in a very diluted form. And what can we do? We have to mention the transparency by design, accountability and regulations, digital literacy and awareness. This is very important. I will say something later on also. So ethical platform design. So whenever we are creating a platform for the digital literacy, that what can be done, what not to do. At the same time, we have to provide an ethical platform design. At the same time, protect rights or empower users, protect privacy and data rights, provide robust reporting and readdressing mechanism, and put users in control. Because if I am not controlled in the digital environment, obviously I will be totally scattered and I will have the tenacity to follow the wrong path. That's why the digital literacy and designing an ethical platform is very much important. So earlier, basically these four stakeholders played a played an important role in kind of academic work or scholarly work, that is the researcher and the institution under which that researcher is doing work. And obviously, after his or her research work or the scholarly work, there is a tendency, or better to say, to disseminate his or her innovative knowledge through the journal articles. For that, sometime funding agencies role is also important, because whenever the research work is very much large scale, so if in the process of research work sometimes we need some financial help, so if the any funding agency provide that financial help, so it will be very much beneficial for the researcher to carry forward that research work in a proper way and to have the expected result from his or her research work. But nowadays, along with these four aspects, the new additions again, that is the AI tools, that is one popular, that is the Chat GPT, Gemini, etc., and the preprint servers. Yes, the preprint servers is also coming into the focus, because we have some sort of negligency about that preprint servers. Even 1 decade ago, we have that concept that whatever the things are available in the preprint server may not be such good, because it has not been published in a proper way. But whatever the thing I have seen, even whenever I took a small project on preprint servers, I have noticed that the whatever the article has been published after the post publications, better to say, and the same thing, they have their first draft. They most of the cases they have uploaded in the preprint server. So this kind of taboo is not okay. Preprint servers, whatever the content they are providing, they are better to say almost equally good. So this has already been proved, and this has come to the focus in kind of research work, because most of the preprint servers are available in the open access format. So users or researchers or the whenever we are dealing with the scholarly work, so we are using these preprint servers. Now the academic social networks, again, it has also come to the 4 point. That is the one of the example is the LinkedIn. There are so many academic social networks are there. We can create our network. We can discuss that. We can share the material, or we can get that material through these academic social networks very easily without any such barriers. And the data repositories. Most of the universities or the organizations, they have created to showcase their publication, their research work through their institutional repositories. So these repositories, again, better to say that available through open access format most of the cases. So many important information for our researcher we can easily access from those data repositories. And the last thing is that algorithmic indexing system. I will explain all this algorithmic indexing system in my later slide. Now the threats, what is happening in the digital environment? These are the things included, and in aspects of this new edition, some threats we are facing, like that AI and generative tools. Ghostwriting by AI. What happened in previously, most of the cases, the so many famous persons from the cine world or the political field or other fame worlds, some famous persons wants to get his or her autobiographies to be published, and someone has wrote that autobiography for that famous person, and it has been published by the name of that famous person. So the people behind the curtain wrote that content, and it has been published, or it has come to the limelight under the name of that famous person. So this is already in practice, better to say, that called the ghostwriting. Now the AI is creating the ghostwriting again, because I have not that knowledge, I have not that capacity to write a story or to create a content. So I have just given some inputs or thought contents to AI, and an AI very splendidly creating a story for me or the content for me. So The similar way, AI is writing or AI is acting the role like the ghost writing and undetectable plagiarism. This is another thing. The way sometimes we are getting the content through the generative tools, whether it is plagiarized content. Already, I have presented before you the two questions that whenever AI is generating any context, innovative context, you will not find out the any source from copied or something like that. So is that the content is the plagiarized content? So detection of that plagiarized content or not is also posing a challenge before us. And the third thing is the loss of authorship authenticity. Who is the author? In case of ghostwriting, in case of another content, whenever the generated by the generative tools like AI. So with these things, a dilemma is already there that is AI a tool or a co-author? I have put my some ideas in the generative tools and generative tools has created some ideas very structured way. So is that generative tool can be considered along with me as co-author? The second thing is that in relation to that previous two slides, let me focus on these things that it can be said the plagiarism 2.0. What is happening in plagiarism 2.0? That is the patch writing, translation plagiarism, and AI paraphrasing. So why we are discussing or going to discuss all those things? Because we are in a very dangerous state nowadays related to all these things. But now it is harder to detect, but easier to comment. If we keep this statement in our mind, then we can see what is happening in plagiarism 2.0. New tools obviously are there, as I have mentioned, algorithmic manipulations, and in this slide too, basically that AI tools, data repositories, algorithmic indexing system. The last one is also very important. So keeping all these things, let me proceed with this plagiarism 2.0, that is the patch writing. Changing a few words or sentence structures while keeping the original ideas and flow intact. Third thing is the translation plagiarism. I'm translating from Bengali through the generative tools in English or Hindi to English. So that time it will also be very difficult to identify. Then the AI paraphrasing. Using AI tools to paraphrase, rewrite, or humanize content without adding your own insights. So AI generated paraphrases that closely mirror the source, meaning and arguments. Why it's plagiarism? Because minimal human input, no original contribution, not your work. I already provided a statement that it is harder to detect, obviously, easier to commit. Because if I keep in our mind very clearly the ethical principles, then it is very easier to commit, to follow the ethical principles. So that time, this kind of hallucination or temptation, better to say, the patch writing, translation plagiarism, AI paraphrasing, I will be cautious to do all these things. If it is happening still, the patch writing and translation plagiarism and AI paraphrasing, why it matters? Because undermines integrity. Obviously, it is very much against all those ethical principles of the academic integrity. And most dangerous things is that it is totally where to say that damaging the trust, harms learning and growth, leads to academic penalties. Penalties, we may also face the penalties and hurts your reputation. Your own reputation, if you are connected with any institution, at the same time, the institution's reputation will also be hampered because of your all these malpractices. So what we can do, cite properly, think in a proper way, keeping in our mind that ethical principles, write in your own words from your own understanding, check, use plagiarism checkers, and respect others' work, own your learning. So in this way, originality is not just a rule, it's a mindset. Mindset is very important. Yes, at the same time, awareness is also important. So that's why the digital literacy and digital platform is also required. Later on in a slide, I will try to focus on that. And the third thing related to that plagiarism 2.0, what is happening, that is predatory publishing ecosystem. Already we are very much aware about the concept of the fake journals. If the new researchers still don't have any ideas to identify which journal is fake journal, there are so many sites, so many guidelines are available on the web. One thing I can remember, that is there is a very good website, that is Think, Check and Submit. Think, 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 Check and Submit. If you put the journal's name, they will provide you the details. Some of the aspects is there. There is whether it is following the COPE, that is the foundation aspects of ethical principle, following any ethical principle, whether the journal is getting published or not. At the same time, whether the journal has any good editorial board, publication policy, author guideline, etc. Some of the core aspects, whether they are having or not, these things they will provide them. Now the paper mills, it is almost like the ghostwriting some group of people, but here a whole organization is also engaged. On behalf of you, they will write an article, they will produce the scholarly content, and they will sell you. You will very secretly you will pay to them, and you will buy that product. Then you will publish or submit for publication anywhere in your name. So this is the concept of paper mills. And the citation cartels. This is also, better to say, our own creativity in the scholarly network. Sometimes it is observed that a group of scholarly people, they are writing article, and whenever they are writing article, they are citing each one's article intentionally. Some very loose connections are there within the two articles, but they are very prominently using each one's article citations to just to boost up their H index. In this way, they are getting increasing their citations. So this is called the citation cartel. So all these three aspects are also against to the academic integrity. If really I am taking any portions of my fellow colleagues or my friends' article, which are very much interrelated, which are very much relevant to each other, obviously I will cite those articles, but they are intentionally creating a network to cite each one's articles to just to boost up their own citation numbers. So it is happening sometimes, pressure to publish, one of the aspects are there, but always not that there is a pressure to publish, just to create a visibility or their own names to be come to the forefront, that these much citations I have, this much H index I am gaining. So creating a total halo effect based on the fabricated or falsified aspects, it is happening. So these are the very much malpractices are followed through fake journals, paper mills, and citation cartels. Now, data integrity crisis, because in plagiarism 2.0 in the C, I have mentioned the predatory publication. Now in the D, that is the fourth part, that is the data integrity crisis. What is happening in the data integrity crisis? First of all, already I have touched some of the points. If I chalk out in a structured format, you can see, and the number one, that is the fabricated data sets. Those fabricated data sets are having no authenticity as such. So data is invented or manipulated instead of collecting honestly. Invented values, artificially manipulated results, falsified records. I'm not doing any survey work. I'm not doing any field work. Just with the generative tools, I have created some numerical value, some literature review. not at all published in any journals, but presented or the structure in such a way that it provides you the feeling or the taste or the impression, better to say, that it is very much authentic. So second thing is the lack of reproducibility. One of the core principles of the research work is uh, that is the provides the concept or the scope, better to say, to reproduce that result again by using the same methods. Why it is so important? Because then only it will be verified whether that results we are getting following the same methods. If I again follow the same methods and imply all those methods, then whether I'm getting the same results again. If there is a huge gap, then there will arise a very big question that the result is not authentic, it is false. So that's why reproducibility is very much important. But whatever the results we are getting through the generative tools or in a fabricated following the fabricated data sets, obviously that data set will not help you to materialize the concept of reproducibility. So second aspect is also very much important. And the third thing is the selective reporting. What is happening under the selective reporting? Only chosen results are reported while negative or null findings are ignored. Find results, it not that always will be positive. Results may also be negative. But what is happening? If it is negative, I'm suppressing that and I am just highlighting the positive results. Even in hypothesis, I'm adjusting the hypothesis also. It's a very common popular term that is called the harking. This system is the adjusting the hypothesis after finding the result is called the harking. That is totally against the academic integrity. So all these things are misleading conclusion, erosion of the trust, and systematic damage. Another last thing under the plagiarism 2.0, that is the metric manipulation that is happening in this digital environment. That is the already I have given some example in deliberations of my presentation, but I'm focusing totally on this part on this slide. That is the H index inflation, the polishing many low impact papers to increase volumes. X, Y, Z, not so much. Forget about the Scopus Index or Web of Science. If it is not even the referred journal, but I'm publishing something and I'm uploading on my social media or my research integrate, that these are my publications. So artificially boosting citations through coordinated practices. I'm following all these things in a very coordinated way, in a planned way. I'm not being able to publish my articles in Scopus or Web Index journals, not even a referred journal. Now UGC scale list has been scrapped. Forget about that. But referred journal, not even the referred journals, some fake journals having some ISSN number, okay, but ultimately it's almost like a fake journal. But I am published, and it is getting very easily published. Then what happening with the help of the social network like ResearchGateNet, academia, I'm publishing all those things or uploading all those things. New researcher, the students of the MLIS. So whenever they are searching any document, they are easily getting all those things and they are using that without knowing its proper authenticity, proper quality. And sometimes they are citing that articles also. And as soon as it is cited to the Google Scholar, to the ResearchGateNet, it is well connected and the author is getting the citations. In this way, he is inflating his H index. So it is a planned and coordinated effort. Think about that, how dangerous it is. And that the self-citation loops also there. I'm using my own citation again and again repeatedly in all my articles. And with the help of again through the Google Scholar and the ResearchGateNet, academia, I'm getting the citation. Because what? If I see clearly, 90% citations are my own cited papers. And the third thing, a little bit technical, that is the algorithm gaming. What is happening here on algorithmic gaming? There is a keyword stuffing to rank higher in databases. The keyword has been framed in such a way. Think about that. All these things are so highly, skillfully, or intentionally in a coordinated way. Someone or those people are associated with this kind of work are doing. You cannot imagine that. So keyword stuffing to rank higher in databases. Some keywords are there. That is the what kind of thing, that topic related to the present context. Those topics are nowadays in a very high demanding factor. So related to those topic, I'm very tactfully incorporating all those keywords. But basically, they are having very loose connections with my article. But keywords, I'm framing, or in my after the abstract, I'm framing the keywords. Okay, whenever it will be included in the indexing system, my whole article along with that keyword will be checked. But as a whole, the first glance, the first impression, keyword will match and it can be taken into the consideration. Then the second thing is that publishing in venues that exploit indexing loopholes. There are so many indexing under the indexing techniques or indexing networks. There are still so many loopholes are there, and they are using that loopholes. In a zone, they are publishing that article where indexing techniques are not followed so rigorously. जैसे मैंने अभी बोला जे keywords and whether the keywords are ultimately properly relevant to that article or not, that things somehow not been checked in that particular zone, and they're targeting that zone, publishing in that area where the techniques of indexing is not matching or testing very rigorously. And the timing and structuring citations to trick algorithms, that is also important. The timing and structuring citations to trick algorithms. I'm not from the technological field, where to say, but with the layman concept, the search engine optimization techniques, in short, that is called that ACO. It has been found that ACO programming, if it is done in such a way that whenever anything is published over the website, if the ACO is mapped or structured to provide that published document on the website, whenever I'm searching any particular topic on that, my published thing uploaded in the web will come at the first position or under the 10 search ranking. So the timing and structuring is very much related with that concept. So these are the techniques in a coordinated way some people are doing to manipulate their metrics. So obviously all these things creating false impression of influence and distorts evaluations, inflates citation counts without real intellectual contribution, and focus shifts from quality research to visibility tactics. Even I can also feel that this is the some people are running behind this. Forget about the quality. Visibility tactics is very much important. So what we can do in this digital environment, so many dangerous elements are alluring us, or tempting us that, okay, please come, forget about your ethical principles, come to the fold out, come to our lab, come to our fold and take the advantage. Create a boosted effect of your visibility, of your H index, etc., etc. So opportunities are still there. Digital environment not only providing the tempting factors, digital environment is also can be a protector of the integrity. Don't forget about that. Again, I'm repeating, digital environment as a protector of integrity. How? One thing, that is the open access, can help us in this way very much. How? Fostering research integrity through open access, transparency. If my research work or other research work, if it is available in openly, so out of 10 people, those who are new, they may not identify at a first glance. But some people, those who are experienced, if the data, research methods, hypotheses, all these things are available, at least some people can identify that whether these are the fake, authentic or not. And whenever the research data available along with the research methods in a proper way, as I mentioned just my previous slide, that if I want to reproduce that result following the methods and whether I'm getting the same result again, so it will provide us a platform to test. And obviously, it will create the accountability as well as the collaborative work also based on those available researchers. So ultimately, it will create the trust and confidence on the availability research work. So there are so many aspects are there under the open access. I have provided it is all coming under open science, that open research data, open research software, open methods, open evaluation, open educational sources. All these things are very much related with the open access format, which will be very much helpful for the integrity. One thing under this open access, particularly I want to draw your attention, that is the open peering. Sometimes there are so many misconception or frustrations sometimes are happening, that I have submitted a very good article in a very reputed journal, but ultimately the journal has not been accepted. Why it is not accepted? If all these data are available openly, all those reviewers comment, all those editors comment if it is available openly, so I can accordingly check what actually commented by the reviewer. But most of the cases, the reviewers' comments are edited or partially it is available, or it may be manipulated. Yes, it is also can be said, it partially edited, but it can be manipulated also. So that time I may not get the real picture. So, but if it is available in the open peer review format, so it will give me a good idea that why that article hasn't been published, what the gap is there. Accordingly, I try to recover all these things and I will edit my scholarly content also. So these are the beauty or the advantages of open access, which will be very much helpful in this digital environment to avoid all these tempting factors, whichever I already mentioned. And the technology for integrity, because technology is now in a very villain role. But no, it has the positive aspects are also in terms of research integrity. That is, the plagiarism detection softwares are nowadays coming with the checking with the AI content also, drill bit provided by our own UGC in FlipNet. And under the Shod Shuddhi program, they are providing so many aspects. Following that, we can check all those things. Now, the AI detection tools, as I have already mentioned, it is integrated with the plagiarism checking software. Previously, it was not there. For 5 or 6 years, it has been very constructively integrated with all kinds of good plagiarism detection software like Drillbit, Authenticate, Turnitin, etc. And the blockchain for research data. What is these things? Because whenever first thing is that from our MLIS days, we have learned that creation of data, then dissemination, then its storage and retrieval, then again it is disseminated in a proper way. So whenever data is created, it has to be very much careful at the very beginning stage that the data is tamper-proof records of research data. Okay, so that's why proper mechanism has to be created to verify all those data curation, along with that metadata, along with that authenticity. They are the data accessed. Then after the data created, verifying all those things, it has to be stored in a data repository or in the open access format, so that next generation researcher or those people are working for any kind of academic work or scholarly work, they can check all these things very easily without any doubt. So all these things will create a good impact factor maintaining academic honesty and credibility, encouraging responsible use of AI in research, secure research data across in life cycles. So in a catch line, I can say technology is not a replacement of for integrity, but a powerful enabler of it. Before this slide, it seems that only the technology has to be blamed for creating so many temptations, but at the same time, only technology can also be an enabler or powerful tool to avoid the research integrity along with your own mindset. Repeatedly, I'm mentioning that my own mindset is also very much important. So what is happening in Indian context? A few things, that is lack of digital ethics trainings. It is still lacking. Whatever the I have seen or whatever the information I have collected, the way it needs to be done to create a proper awareness about all these things is still lacking. Another thing is that India have so many languages. Language barriers are also a thing in this matter, and overemphasis on publication count. How many publications you have? How many age index you have? So under this pressure, sometimes we unintentionally, even better to say, we become the prey, PREY, of all those malpractices. Some of the initiatives that UGC have taken, that is the research and publication ethics. It's a 2-credit course of 30 hours duration. There are 6 modules, but still the digital literacy and how we will tackle all these things have not been covered. I think that 6-module course need to be again revised, so that all these things should be included there to create a proper awareness about all these things. And already you are aware the Shodganga is there, Shodshuddhi is there, but under this course or in a different way, UGC can create a proper platform to create a proper awareness about that, all those digital literacy, including all those things, whatever I have mentioned in my delineation. So policies exist, but digital literacy gap remains. Somehow policies are there, but as I have already mentioned, the digital literacy gaps are still there. So the thing, as I have mentioned at the very beginning, that I will not go into details about all those ethical principles, but still here I have mentioned that transparency is very much important. That's why open data and methods is very much important. Accountability, that is clear authorship, AI disclosure. I have found some journals, they have started that how far AI tool you can use. Some guidelines they are providing, but still there is no such comprehensive AI policy is not there. Under the University of Delhi, we are trying to draft AI policy, but it is still in a nascent stage. Let's see what we can do. Then third thing is, that is the authenticity, original intellectual contribution, traceability. Where from I'm taking the data? What are my source? What is the data source? All this should be traceable in a proper. So there is no doubt that it is fake or it is the generated by some generative tools, and the digital literacy, that is the ethical use of tools. This is important. So as a library professionals, we have some role also. That is the plagiarism awareness, research data management support, promoting open access, and guiding ethical AI and use. Because we are directly dealing with the researcher, different kinds of researchers are coming to the library. So in our library, we can set up all those things and to provide some kind of awareness to our users, so that will be very much beneficial. So related to AI, I know there are so many questions that there, as I have already mentioned, there are still lacking a comprehensive policy of AI. Different journals, they have some clues, or they are providing that how far you are allowed to use AI. So whatever the information are still there, we can segment those things in 3 zones. That is the green zone. I will take another 2 or 3 minutes. Within time, I have to finish. Organizer has given me just 30 minutes time, so I'm trying to finish. green zone, amber zone, and red zone. What is happening in green zone? That is low risk assistive use such as spelling, formatting, transcription, or accessibility support. So these chota mota matter you can club under green zone. And what is amber zone? Amber zone material assistance such as outlining, summarizing, coding support, or translation with mandatory disclosure. Not little bit, not big. Some kind of middle level help you can take, and all those things will come under amber zone. Now the red zone, undisclosed substitution, fabrication, fake citation, misuse or confidential data, or deceptive authorship. This is danger. If you do, even the you can face the penalty also. If someone uh, arise any objection in a proper way, so you may face problem. So in my way, green zone, what is the happening in green zone? You can take somehow help from the generative tools. At the same time, be careful about the amber zone. As far as possible, you should avoid that, but still you can go for that. But whatever happening in the red zone, you should not go for that. So example is activity was happening. They use AI to fix grammar and punctuation in a completed draft, that is green zone. Required response, no disclosure formally required. Author remains responsible. No problem for that as such. Now, use AI to summarize 20 articles before checking originals. That is the amber zone. Disclose tools and verify every substantive claim from source material. You have to disclose that whatever the sources you have taken help through generative tools. Again, another example that
14A, 17
one code that is tested and corrected by researchers. So again, if you disclosure assistance in methods or an appendix written workflow record. Suppose whenever you are using the methodology with the help of the generative tools, you have used the Python or R, but you don't have such knowledge about the Python. You have taken help through the generative tools, but in a smaller way, if you can take that help and if you have disclosed all these things, it may be allowed, but it also depends on the policy of any particular journal or the platform on which you are going to publish. So you have to take careful about that also. And the red zone, what is happening? Use AI to draft a full literature review and submit it as one score. Academic misconduct refers for instance, and total gross violation of the research integrity. Another example of the red zone, upload confidential interview transcripts to a public chatbot. Again, potential misconduct and data governance breach. Immediate review is required. So these are the some of the concept of how far you can take, what kind of problem you may face. So better you remain yourself in the green zone. So with these few things, I'm finishing. Thank you for giving or patiently hearing to me. It's over to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
ভোটের দিন ভোটের আগে রেগুলারেশন 500 টাকা করে ভোটের আগে কিন্তু ভোটের দিন খাওয়া মাছ খায় ঠিক আছে আর 300 টাকা আমার কন্টিনিউস
Am I connected or disconnected?
Connected, sir. Connected.
Okay, now it's over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the valuable insights. So now it's time for calling upon our third speaker and our esteemed resource person who will share his valuable insights and expertise on the topic of the webinar. And he is none other than Mr. Partho Sarathi Chakraborty. Mukhopadhyay. I'm so sorry. Partha sir is a professor and the head of the department of the Library and Information Science at the University of Kollam. He is very known for his contributions to open source projects and library technology. With over 100 research papers and 5 books, including Interoperability and Retrieval UNESCO Paris, he has also served as a metadata consultant for the National Digital Library of India, shortly known as NDLI, and advises the National Virtual Library Project. So he will also be today in his speech, he will also be delivering all the clear pictures and insights on academic integrity in the digital environment and intellectual property rights. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, you are audible.
Actually, there has been some problem going on at my end, some technical problem. My microphone was not working. Actually, our next speaker is Professor Partha Saruthi Mukhopadhyay. As Lahori said, actually, he needs no introduction. I think, sir, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. He has joined, and actually, those who are from the library and information science community doesn't need any introduction of Professor Mukhopadhyay because he is so frequent in the different universities, OPs and RCs, etc. So even for the people outside the library science field, he is a known face. And apart from that, he has his contribution in the open source projects and data carpentry. Everyone knows, so I'm not going to, I don't have the audacity to introduce Professor Mukhopadhyay. Actually, he is our guru figure in this field. So we have already 11 past 6, but we cannot just help listening to Partha Saruthi sir's illuminating lecture. I think we should waste any further time for introducing him because he is a known figure, and just would like to pass the baton to Professor Mukhopadhyay for his lecture. Now, what to you, sir?
Thank you, madam, and thank you, Sambhav. And I was listening for the last 10 minutes on the previous speaker in the field, Dr. Ashish বিশ্বাস, and he actually almost touched upon all the nuances of this transition phase. But I have some different views, which is slightly different from the previous speaker. So let me concentrate on that, and I will be very brief. Within 25-30 minutes, I will be covering this issue. So first, let me share this one. Can you see the slide? Slide is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So I think the slide is now visible to all of you. Fine. So my point here is this: we have not taken academic integrity quite seriously. Okay, that is one of the problem here. I will clarify why I am saying this particular thing. So I think this slide is visible to all of you. This is one of the problem of this, network-based, interaction. So you are not quite sure whether it is quite visible to all of you. Please, someone say yes or no, so that I can move forward. Audio-wise and video-wise, I am quite clear to all of you. Fine.
It is visible, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So my point is that academic integrity, what we actually missed so far is the seriousness. We simply did not understand in the academic community that it's not a fear it's nothing, always we, inculcate fear amongst researchers, student, and all the stakeholders of the academic domain, that academic integrity, if you are doing some mistake, you will be punished. So punishment is the core point in the Indian academic integrity system, but it is actually not. Academic integrity is not about punishment. It's an honor code. It's an academic value system. First of all, it's not a new thing. Don McAway, the father of this academic integrity, actually poised this term long back, possibly in 19th century, early 19th century. If you can go through the Wikipedia article on Don McAway, he is considered as the grandfather of academic integrity, and according to him, it's a value system. And that value system we need to inculcate among students, among researchers, right from their, formative age. And when we are starting, we are starting at the PhD level. When all, windows of formative, good habits and formative age is over, and that too according to a two credit course. So for us, academic integrity is nothing but a course, a part of a course, not even the full course. Two credit part of a, this PhD coursework. And if you compare this, the International Coalition on Academic Integrity, which is called ICAI, it is actually saying that your academic journey should be based on the 6 pillars only: honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. Because previous decade dominated by the plagiarism, then the plagiarism check software came. Now this decade will be dominated definitely by AI, but in this point of time, you cannot avoid AI. So, for example, what my previous speaker was saying, that you are in the green zone when you are utilizing AI for grammar checking, spelling correction, then some missing punctuation, etc. Very nominal level of work. There is nothing, no intellectual activity involved in that way. Still, you are saying it's an AI. But the moment you are doing that with your paper, academic paper, and going to, say, for example, you are using Grammarly or Quillboard or Hemingway editor, any grammar checking software, you are actually uploading your paper, you are getting your grammar ready paper back, and then you go through your AI check software, plagiarism, AI check software, AI detection software like CopyLeaks or Authenticate or anything else. It will tell you that all on a sudden you will be seeing that previously it was 0 to 10%. Now all on a sudden it actually rose up to 40-45%. So as an as a researcher, you see our condition. The same corporate houses selling software to check grammar, and most of the cases this is in the green zone. But the moment you are taking the help of that kind of tool and going for AI detection, it is unnecessarily and unethically saying that you have actually utilized AI in a wrong way, and no, publisher or no, granting institute is ready to, take 40%, 45% AI in your writing, although you have not used a single, word by utilizing any of large language model. So it's not only a one-sided game that an academia is always taking the, help unethically. No, it's not like that. So the moment you can inculcate this particular value amongst researchers, right from their formative age, right from their graduation level, then only we can get rid of this kind of, malpractices. Because today is AI, tomorrow it will be super AI, and day after tomorrow you just utter the words, it will do a complete chapter. So that kind of, possibilities are there. It's happening. I will try to show you some of these glimpses that against which we are fighting. The basic difference, as I said, between the Indian academic mindset and the foreign institutes is that for them it basically a kind of honor council. Right from their graduate level, they prepare student, academic integrity council by the students. No teacher, no faculty, nobody is part of that one. So only students judge other fellow students, and they make them aware that what to do, what not to do, what are the value systems. So this is basically the value system both for Harvard, and if you go through the Stanford, that is also true for them. So right from the day one of their graduation level, they are getting the skills. Okay, so it's an academic honor. You are a part of Stanford or Cornell or Harvard. Why you are doing this? This kind of a kind of prideness they inculcate, they inbuilt inside the student system, and there we felt like anything. Why we felt like anything? We have so far only one particular regulation related to academic integrity. You all know 2018 guideline. But you see what happens. I'm not saying that UGC has done this particular, regulation a foolproof kind of system. No, but they tried. You see here in a particular phase, section 5, you will be seeing they are saying that right from the day one in their university or college, you need to make them aware. You make, you integrate this kind of value system. You need to integrate, a hierarchical structure. Department level, you should have academic integrity panel. They call it DAIP. At the institute level, you have IAIP. But the moment it comes to college and university, we never taken this section 5 advices. We do not promote, we do not make our student, our researcher aware of any of this, and directly taken the punishment section. For us, it's all about punishment. And no great thing can be done through fear. Very clear. And a kind of abstract idea like academic integrity. I'm giving you one example of a kind of integrity, what is called integrity. There was a teacher, a very respectable teacher from Calcutta University, Dr. Subir Sen. So when I was in Delhi at Instock, in a month he comes to the Instock for taking classes for us. Then one particular evening, and this is this Instock building is basically in the South Delhi, in the Katwaria Sarai, just opposite to IIT, and in the middle of IIT and JNU. So that's basically, that time it was a lonely road, and myself and other 2-3 friends of the class were going with sir for having a cup of tea after the class. Then there was a crossing, traffic light kind of thing, and that traffic line was red at that point of time. We need to go other side of the road. Then no single car was passing, and because I said that was a lonely road that point of time. But sir was waiting. Alongside sir, we were also waiting to get it green. Then I asked her that why, sir, why you have wasted almost 2-3 minutes of time? No car was there. Sir told me, you see, when someone else not checking you, then also you are doing the right thing. This is called integrity. So this particular abstract idea, this kind of value system, you cannot inculcate through fear, where you 10% you cross, you will be getting this punishment, 30 to 40% this punishment. What's this? So we are not actually what to say, encouraging. We are not. We actually fail to encourage our researcher to follow the academic integrity path properly. It's not about plagiarism. It's not about AI. The real reason is that we have failed, to build that value system in the academic setup, in the higher education system of India. Because this is particularly the reason. This, when no one is also checking, no one is checking you, then also you are doing the right lawful thing. That is, my dear friend, is called integrity, and academic integrity is no exception. Whether you are taking the help of AI or this plagiarism, it does not matter if we can build this kind of value system. And another great, failure, what I say, that in the Indian academic system related to academic integrity is that we think plagiarism and taking the Himvarpatim help from AI is the only plagiarism available in the market. Maybe
Sir, your sharing is stopped. Actually, your screen is not visible anymore.
Okay. Where it At what point of time? Long back.
I think, sir, just you started talking about Suvi Sen. So therefore, actually lost it.
Okay, now you can see.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So another problem is that we think academic integrity is all about plagiarism, all about copy and pasting. It's not actually. The most of the 90% of the research in India comes from STEM group, science, technology, engineering, and management. And there, plagiarism of text is not the only factor of concern. Why I am saying so? There is a great database, called this one. Just a minute. Okay, so if you go through this particular data set called retractionwatch.com, and it's a very comprehensive data set on retraction. You all know that retraction is the ultimate academic crime in a career of a researcher. Suppose you have published one particular paper and that got retracted either for plagiarism or for image manipulation or for taking extreme help of AI or something like that. But here you see this retraction watch actually pointed out 90 plus reasons against which a particular paper may get retracted. And plagiarism is only 4 out of them. You are getting my point. We are unnecessarily giving much emphasis. We still understand that academic integrity is all about plagiarism, which is actually not. There are 90 plus reasons listed by Retraction Watch, previous on the basis of the previous incidents of retraction. And plagiarism of article, plagiarism of text, plagiarism of image is only 4 out of that 90. And if you go through this particular data set, and I searched that retraction originated from India from the date of 2001 to 2026, 31st March of 2026. So altogether, there were 5971 items retracted from India. The ultimate academic crime that may happen against academic integrity or in the career of the researcher. Because once a retraction happened with you, you are a finished academician. Particularly, it will be posted everywhere. It will be reported in PubPeer. It will be integrated inside a retraction watch. Anyone can see this one. Your paper, they will not withdraw. It will be there, but in a big font it will be written retracted over the title. So it's an academic dishonor basically. And as I said, that plagiarism is only a tiny part of it. Then let me show you this particular, I'm coming to this one again. So this particular data set is now available for downloading. So just to show you the real cause of academic integrity in India. So this is the basically 70,000, almost 70,000 instances of retraction as of today, right from the earliest one is from 1969. So here you see, these are the countries separated by semicolon. So here you can see country, and these are the region separated by again semicolon. So here the last column, this is the region. So I will do a simple, very simple operation to isolate all the countries so that I can get the real scenario for India. So you can see these countries are actually separated by semicolon here. So I'll do, it's a data carpentry software called open source software called OpenDefine. So I'm just doing this splitting multi-valued cell where separated is semicolon, and it will create it will set all countries in a single line, you can see. And now I am separating also regions one reason set a line. So again, by following this one, split multi-valued cell. So so now what I'll do to get a real scenario of this one, let me now facet by country. So these are all the countries and I am going by the count. So now you see the actual reason, actual scenario, not the reason. So China is actually, quite high in retraction, 37 plus. A distant second is United States with 7,200 plus retraction so far. India, previously it was on the fourth position. Now it actually crossed Russia and 5987 paper actually got retracted. Now let me select only India. So this 5987 will come. And here I am now going for the comparison of regions. So let me again facet by region. So now you see, if I go for the count, you see this is basically the reason. We published in journal where peer review is compromised, means fake peer review. Issues related to referencing and attribution, because our researchers simply do not know that if you are citing too much the papers which already got retracted, then your paper is also liable to be retracted. Suppose 5 of my paper got retracted and Sambo cited all 5 of papers from me without knowing that one, unknowingly. But without any reasons, any further academic reasons, Sambo's paper may also get retracted. And how many of researcher, how many of faculty knows this? And this is the second, reason in this Indian retraction, simply because of lack of awareness. We teach them that do not do plagiarism, do not use AI, but we actually do not teach them what are the real reasons of retraction, the greatest academic crime. Once it is done, the career of a young researcher is finished simply. And you can see many other reasons. If you come to plagiarism here, you see, plagiarism is text only 38. Can you believe it? Of 6,000, almost 6,000 retracted paper from India, only 38 got retracted for plagiarism, and we paid billions of rupees, millions of rupees by integrating all the colleges and universities of India to these good for nothing plagiarism checkers and good for nothing AI checker. I'm telling you with all kind of responsibility. I'm taking all the responsibility for this statement. This AI check software of Authenticate, Copy Leaks, or all drill bit, all are simply bogus. We are doing a great, large scale research for proving this particular thing. It actually gives you lots of false positive. And it actually, don't understand what is the difference between the AI writing and human writing. What it does, it actually compares. It has a data set where all the AI generated phrase they actually store. And when you submit a paper, they identify your phrases and matches that when a phrase actually repeated how many times in the AI generation and how many times by human. So they have a huge database. But simply it's another kind of plagiarism check, nothing more than that. You are simply checking your phrase with this AI generated phrase, nothing else. So it's a kind of again a syntactical similarity checking. And they are fetching lakhs of rupees from institutions. So as a library professional, because many of you are library professional here, we need to understand this integrity. One particular algorithm is not God. One algorithm giving you result that means that is AI generated. No guarantee they don't give. You see the first disclaimer they give, Authenticate or Copy Leak, the great to great so-called great software. They give a disclaimer that we are not 100% sure about this report. Handle with care. And against, on the basis of that particular report, where the generator is not quite satisfied, we are actually killing academic career of young researchers. And in the third world country, the situation is much more, worse. Say, for example, in the first world country, their mother tongue is English, and 90% research communication is in English. English is not our mother tongue. If we take the help of AI, this Grammarly and other kind of thing, what's wrong in it? Your idea matters. Do you think your text is your research? So I don't think actually that your text is your research. Your research, your insight, your data, you are expressing through text. So generation of text is not a crime. And most of the tools simply do not understand that. They are going for the similarity checking. And we failed as an academic superpower, because India is now the third highest research article producer, and similarly third highest in retraction also. We simply do not teach our students, do not teach our faculty colleagues that these are the things happening. And as a library professional, I think this is our duty to tell them that blindfold use of AI can generate a lot of ghost references, and that ghost references can kill their character. And it will be doing that so convincingly that you simply do not understand. So this kind of gaps, lacks, we need to tell them as a library professional that you can take help of AI, but be very, very careful about this. So I'm giving my last example from here. Say, for example, how can you avoid this kind of tool? Tell me. Because we need to redefine intelligence. Why I'm saying so? Say, for example, a simple reference management software that many of you are using. Possibly I know my librarian friends are already using it. Many of the faculty are also using it. So suppose I am using my Jotero. CD Jotero. Just a minute. So where I am actually, let me check, because I'm actually experimenting a lot. So sometimes things get restricted, So CD Jotero 7. So I'm starting by Jotero 7. And you see that what you can say that this is intelligent and this is not intelligence. So for example, you are going through all of your CSV data and then doing some kind of analysis. Do you think that is intelligence? I don't think so. So you have collected 100 odd documents, then you want to go through these one by one, that most of the cases abstract level, then making, okay, this is relevant, that is not relevant. Do you think that is intelligence? That is only academic activity. The academic activities possibly lies in the next level. Some intelligent tool will do that for you, and you will do the next level of insight from your system kind of thing. Say, for example, what do I mean by this? Say, in my Jotero, I am presently writing a research report. For my chapter 1, I have collected these 14 items I have selected by going through this. Now, of these 14 items, say, for example, I just now want to check what I can take and what I can't take for the writing this particular chapter. So I can take the help of LLM in a productive way. Say, this particular 5 document, 3 and 2, 5 number of documents I am selecting. Suppose all of these are similar kind of document, and I am asking my Jotero. So here we have taken the help of an open source large language model called Mistral, possibly the highest, not highest actually, the largest, parameter based open source software developed by France, and it is open source, Mistral. And I have written a prompt what it will do, it will go through all of my title and abstract of the paper and will create a literature matrix for that. It's an intelligent assistant. I will take that assistance to save my time, and then I will, easily I can check that whether this particular article will go to my review or will be included in my chapter or not. How easily we can do that. So if you are not taking help of this kind of tool, you're basically doing a mistake. So it actually is going through all of these 5 documents. As in the prompt I have written that you need to produce everything in APA citation format, and finally you need to give the literature matrix tool. So I'll be showing you what it is doing actually. Now, if I go through this particular 5 journal article by the title and by the abstract, then do whether this is relevant, that is not relevant. Previously, that was considered as a kind of what to say, a kind of academic activity. So now you see, if I now copy this particular model, so for this 5 particular number of document, table got distorted. You see what it is doing actually. It is actually taking all of this one. As I said that this particular must be in APA 7 format. It is actually giving me all intake citation in APA 7th edition, and it is actually preparing a table. The table got distorted. Let me do it again, maybe because of network or something like that. At any point of time, I can go back. So the moment I click here, it will go back. So this time, say for example, I'm selecting another 5 to check it. So now this 5 will go, and it will produce a markdown table actually. So previously markdown table got distorted. So this kind of table, which I can copy and check, So you see how beautifully it is actually, okay, fine. So some issue is there maybe. So let me try another tool. Say, these are all open source actually. I'm trying the Olama EPTSS. So it's completely free. You can integrate this kind of tool in your Zotero, and you can have this kind of table and this kind of literature review. Just you need a prompt, and if anyone is interested, I can share the prompt with you. So what I am expecting is this kind of tool, but previously it was getting distorted. Maybe I don't know the reason. I need to check, but this time it worked. I have used another kind of tool. So now you can easily, copy this entire thing. It is very difficult to read from here. So I'm copying this one, and I can go to another particular lesson, and this will be coming in this particular fashion. So now what I mean actually, say my half an hour job or 1 hour job, it can do very easily. It can give me an initial checking. Then I can go through that particular table, that particular summary or literature review it does, and finally I'll be selecting, okay, this particular 3 paper, I think it's important for my chapter in inclusion, and I can include. So how many of your productive hours you can save? Do you think it's basically an intelligence work? It's a replacement of human being? Not exactly. And again, say a kind of ready-made tool is there. What I am utilizing here, this here, I can simply set a model. Suppose say GPT OSS. It's again a open source tool, and then I can ask this particular model, say, do a literature review on responsible AI. So I need to simply think, type this theme and lead for literature review. Then you just give your responsible use of AI. Now, the moment you give this particular work, what it will do on behalf of you, it has got a connection with the archive. Mostly, it's actually related to science, or you can also connect it to social science archive. So it is actually making first a deeper search on the basis of my query. It is trying to understand, regenerating all kind of surveillance and skills for doing a deep search kind of thing. Then it is gathering all kind of relevant literature from the whole archive, and then it is trying to give me a list of references. So there is no chance of ghost referencing like your raw LLM, what we are utilizing directly like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude kind of thing. That produce a lot of ghost references. Those you cannot rely. But here you see it is actually based on a proven database of academic articles archive, and on the top of that you can integrate with a free LLM. I mean, utilizing here Olama with GPT OSS, and it can do a kind of literature review, then responsible AI, and it is actually selected all of this in here. And that I can easily say, for example, I'm just showing you an example. It actually takes 10 to 12 minutes of time. Say if I give this particular command, so it will create the entire literature review, and then the entire literature review I can view like this. So this is the literature review I just done before the class. So on ANIF, an automated subject indexing system, and you see here it is completely based on the references. All of these references is having the URL or DOI value, so that you can really check that whether it's a fake reference or ghost reference or not. So at the end, my point is that it is not quite possible in this particular situation, in this particular transition phase, to avoid AI. So try to, as a faculty member, as a librarian, try to inculcate that value system, that the story I shared with you. Integrity is you are doing the right thing when even no one is checking. So that kind of mindset, that kind of thing only can save us. And we need to give our researcher, our faculty members, the actual picture of retraction, the actual picture of academic misconduct happening in India, and where we actually belong to. Still, we are producing almost 18 million. We produced 18 million research paper in the last 25 years. Of which only 6,000 got retracted. That's actually a very good news. We are not China. We are not using paper mills, or we are not doing mass kind of retraction. So it's actually a good news. But if we make spread this particular news, make them aware, and inculcate the value, possibly the future is quite bright for the country. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay, for your lecture. And now I may request our audience, if you have a few pertinent questions, you can ask to Professor Mukhopadhyay, or else we will just wrap up. I think you are open to questions, sir, as you are always.
Yes,
but to the audience, I would request to be very pertinent. If you have any question, please be very pertinent and very precise. If you really have anything precise to ask to Professor Mukhopadhyay, please ask, and then we will go for the final wrap-up. And also, at the same time, we are a parallel YouTube streaming. If someone from there wants to ask anything, they can write it to into their box, chat box, and I'll read them out. But in a very few, you have to do it very fast. Has anybody anything to ask?
Let me check also the comment section if any question is there.
Yeah. Well, I can't see any question coming. All applauses, and that is quite normal after you speak. So, okay. Thank you very much, sir, for your
Mhm.
lecture. Uh, we have learned a lot, as always. And now, let me go to the final wrap up. That is, as the organizing secretary, I'd like to deliver the formal vote of thanks. First, I'd like to mm, thank and congratulate our three speakers, uh, Dr. Ujjoyini Rai from IPSL Calcutta University, Dr. Ashish Vishwas from Delhi University Library System. Actually, he is deputy librarian there, a friend of ours. And of course, finally, Professor Dr. Partho Saruthi Mukhopadhyay of the Department of Library and Information Science, University of Kalyani. Thank you very much to all of you for kindly consenting to give your valuable talks on this platform.
Okay.
And next, I'd like to thank
লিখতে যাবে না, সেটা
uh, our principal, Dr. Gautam Kumar Ghosh, and Dr. Juma Bhumik, the coordinator of IQAC, and also Shomrita Ganguly as the convener of the seminar committee for their cooperation, and also Dr. Shaumen Koyal, librarian of the Central Library of Maharaja Manindara College. I would also like to thank Choitali Ghosh, Ms. Choitali Ghosh of Department of Computer Science, who has designed the flyer. And last but not the least, all my colleagues uh, and all the other participants from different institutions, colleges, universities, from our state, from outside the state, from different states of our country, and also from a few participants from abroad. So, with this, I think it is time to call it a day, and
Okay.
there will be a feedback form which will be sent via email to your inboxes to all the registered participants, and you have to resubmit it in 3 days, which will help us evaluate our program and preparation of the certificate. So I think it is time that we should wrap up and our session. So
Thank
thank
you,
you.
sir. Thank you so much.
So with this, I declare the formal end of this national